So, in sticking with the theme of recruiting today, we need to turn our attention to one of the best prospects in the class of 2025. Five-star tight end Davon Mitchell, because he's recently announced he plans to commit in the very near future. And today, we need to break down the battle. Before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. And considering the Oklahoma Sooners are the team with crystal ball predictions inserted in their favor, do you believe the Sooners land the very gifted tight end? I can't wait to hear from you. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions seem small. They are massive to content creators such as myself, and both getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But having said all that, let's jump right into this. And first and foremost, who is Davon Mitchell? Well, Mitchell stands 6'4", 245 pounds, and plays his high school football in the state of California currently. And if we look at where he ranks in the class of 2025, he is such a gifted prospect. In the class of 2025, he comes in as the number 16 prospect regardless of position, the number 2 tight end, and the number 1 player in the state of California. And not long ago, Mitchell released a top 5 list, a list that consisted of teams such as the Oklahoma Sooners, the Alabama Crimson Tide, Texas A&M, Texas, and the Miami Hurricanes. And today, we need to break it all down. And we're going to start with the Oklahoma Sooners because, like I said in the intro, they're the team that currently has crystal ball predictions inserted in their favor. And Davon Mitchell would be a phenomenal win for the Sooners. The Sooners have been in for a very long time for this tight end. They've been recruiting Mitchell since he was a freshman, and this is something you hope where these long-standing relationships can pay off. And even though there has been a shift in the coaching staff, this new coaching staff for Oklahoma is a staff that we've heard time and time again is able to foster really positive relationships, and they have been chipping away at Davon Mitchell. Another thing that I think is compelling for Oklahoma is before Davon Mitchell got to California, he played his high school football in Allen, Texas, where he was with current Oklahoma quarterback prospect in the class of 2024, Michael Hawkins. Those two have a very powerful connection, and that could be a really compelling factor for the Oklahoma Sooners in trying to win this battle. There is no understating what a win Davon Mitchell would be for the Oklahoma Sooners. Yes, it's early. No, there's no reason to panic. There's nothing but time and opportunity in front of you, but Bryant Wesco chose the Clemson Tigers. Sammy Brown, who we talked about on this channel, would have been a long shot for the Sooners. He chose Clemson as well. So the Oklahoma Sooners still have their massive events out in front of them where they look to chip away at several top-tier prospects, but getting in a win for Davon Mitchell would absolutely excite the Oklahoma Sooner fan base, something we need to watch out for. And before we go any further, quick little caveat, there are rumors flying around that Mitchell could reclassify to the class of 2024. And though nothing tangible is out there yet, it is something we need to keep an eye on. But we also need to keep an eye on the next team that Mitchell listed in his top 5, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because yes, Oklahoma has a long-standing relationship with the very talented tight end, but so too does Alabama. Mitchell hails from the state of Alabama, so they have been able to have a long-standing relationship with the talented tight end. And if we look at who Alabama's offensive coordinator is now, Tommy Rees, we know what a premium he puts at the tight end position. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Tide can chip away at Davon Mitchell. He's from the state of Alabama. They now have an offensive coordinator that features the tight end position at such a high rate. And the tight ends at Notre Dame, you look at the stats they were able to put together, it was impressive. This is something I'm super interested in because Alabama recruits at such a high level. They're coming off of the nation's #1 recruiting class, and in the class of 2024, they have a 5-star quarterback just outside top 10 prospect status, Julian Sayin. And I've said this before, I think Sayin will end up as a top 10 prospect in the class of 2024. I don't have too many doubts about it. So Alabama is absolutely a team we need to watch. On top of them just being a recruiting monster, we've talked time and time again about the impact a 5-star quarterback can have on your class, and especially for a guy that will be catching passes from him. But now we need to turn our attention to Miami, because one thing we know about Mario Cristobal can recruit his tail off. He finds himself in the midst of battles and wins his fair share. And Davon Mitchell talked about very much while enjoying his time with Miami. I think when we're talking Miami, what they do this year is going to be very important. And if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, him committing in the summer before the season starts is interesting, and in my opinion, that probably points to a different school. But at the end of the day, we need to understand that Miami is going to keep chipping away. We have to understand that Miami is a desired destination because of their location. And if that football program turns it around, it's going to be a ton of fun to watch what they're able to do in the ACC. So I'm going to be really interested in watching Miami this year. And if Davon Mitchell was committing in December or in January, I think this would absolutely be something we had to watch, because if Miami can go out there this year and prove, hey, we're turning it around, I think we'd have to have a different conversation. But he plans to commit before the season even starts. So something we still have to watch. Next, we get into the Texas Longhorns, and we just saw how Texas utilized tight end Ja'Tavion Sanders. There's a clip from my show that went semi-viral of us discussing Ja'Tavion Sanders before the Texas OU game, where I was saying, hey, Sark is a mastermind at moving pieces around the field. They have a tight end that has the ability to be an utter mismatch, and I think they're going to exploit that. That's something that has been compelling for Davon Mitchell, and he talked about it. The way that Sark utilized the tight end, the way they moved him around, put him in advantageous positions, that's something that interested Davon Mitchell, and I think that's something that's going to interest offensive prospects around the nation. One thing we need to understand, Steve Sarkisian is an offensive play caller, is very creative, and he's going to find a way to get you the ball. He's going to find a way to feature you in the offense if he believes he can utilize you as a mismatch, and Davon Mitchell would absolutely be a mismatch. And finally, we have Texas A&M. And a similar story for Texas A&M as I gave you for Miami, where if Davon Mitchell was committing in December and January, I think we'd have to have a different conversation here. But Texas A&M is in the midst of trying to figure out what their offense will look like as they've made such drastic changes to the coaching personnel. Bobby Petrino coming in there, being the offensive coordinator. What does this look like? This is something we have to watch. And let me get one thing straight. I'm not saying that once Davon Mitchell gives his verbal commitment, that's it. There's no possibility of him being flipped. That's not my contention at all. My contention is at the point where he commits, every team is still going to be chipping away from him, including the team he commits to. So it's going to be something we have to watch. But similarly to Miami, if Texas A&M was in a position where this was a prospect committing in January, committing in December, they could go out and show, hey, our offense is going to turn things around. There is a reason you should look at us, because we're going to lay the foundation for what's going to be a very positive offense in the future. This is a battle we have got to keep up with. All 5 of these teams are powerhouses when it comes to recruiting. All 5 of these teams are teams that have ended up within the top 10 classes in the nation, and nobody has batted an eyelash. Davon Mitchell is a very gifted prospect, a prospect everybody in college football will want, and this is a battle we have got to keep up with. But do you believe the Oklahoma Sooners can fend off the other suitors trying to get a big win for a very talented tight end? Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.